All right, so we're back to the chiller, part 3. And where I'm going with this is I'm gonna move this port. I think there's two things going on. One being that it's not getting cold enough, so I need to create a high side in this system as well, so that it actually will get cold enough to really cool those intake temps the way that I want them to. I think the other problem is that with both ports being on top, I don't think the water, it's getting all the water from the bottom that's really cold through the system and out the lines. So what I'm gonna do is relocate the outlet onto the bottom so that all the cold water will have nowhere else to go except for out the outlet. So I really wanna do this all on the car just because of the hassle I have to go through with putting this bumper back on. You'll see in part 2 if you watched it. So just like I explained, I'm gonna be putting the hole right there. I'm just gonna drill a hole, drain all the fluid out, and then take the Dremel, ream it out like I did for the top because I don't have a drill bit that big or a hole saw. So, and I'm gonna have to flush it out a lot because obviously there's gonna get metal shavings in there. Some metal shavings in there, I really don't want that in the system for obvious reasons. And flush the shit out of that. And my Ultra Black isn't holding up on here. It's definitely leaking. You can see it's wet around it. This is just Freon from a little earlier. This got loosened up on me. But eventually I'm gonna go with legitimate lines that actually attach to this the way they're supposed to. This is just set up for now. And so I'm gonna use some type of epoxy for that instead of the Ultra Black. I thought the Ultra Black would work, but obviously not. So, all right, so I got the hole drilled. I went up to the biggest drill bit size I have here, which not very big. And I got some metal shivings in the fluid, so I'm definitely gonna have to strain it out. But now I'm gonna ream it out with the Dremel. What's up? Hell yeah. So obviously I gotta plug this hole up. Now I'm gonna move it to the bottom, so I just made this little piece. And just gonna weld it right on top, seal it up. So the way I'm gonna weld this up, I had to do a little figuring, but I had this fairly heavy duty magnet we use for doing cages and holding pipes together. And I'm not even touching it with the magnet. It's so strong it actually magnetized the box. And I'm able to put it on there and get it to hold there while I tack it on. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and tack that, weld it all the way up, and same with the top. Alright, so I had to change the routing a little bit, obviously because of where it's placed. So I do want to make it so it's on the bottom, but obviously I still have this 90, so I'm gonna have to go get it straight like I have on the top over here. But for now, let's just see if, I just wanna see if it even works, gets the intake temps somewhat colder, and if it does, then it's obviously proven that it's gonna work. So let's try it, fill it up and try it. So I just gotta fill it up and all that. So now I'm gonna start it up for the first time, put the stopwatch on, and see how long, or if it cools off at all, we'll find out. Well, as you can see, it ain't changing much. If you look at the video before this one, intake temps were right around the same. I forget if it was 36 or 38, but what does it really matter? A couple degrees ain't changing much. Oh, look, it's coming down, holy shit. Oh, keep it going, baby. But yeah, changing the routing, I don't think changed anything. I think the real deciding factor, thing that I really need to do is create its own high side for that system, which is gonna be a little difficult because the pressures that are in the high side are obviously different from the low side. So I need to actually get some AC lines. I can't just test the system with some heater hose, which I'm doing right now, because I'm already on the verge of the threshold of the heater hose, because it's supposed to only handle like 65 psi, and when the car's off, the AC system's like 70. When it's running, it's fine, but it sits at 70. So right now I'm over it already. And obviously with the high sides around like 200, that hose is not gonna handle any of that pressure. So I'm gonna have to actually get some heater hose and set up a high side for this. So, alrighty people, we finally got all the pieces to finally put this thing completely together the way that it needs to go. So I had this hose company called ASAP Hydraulics near me. The guy's been super helpful, and he found all these fittings that no one else could find from me through like Napa or like a general parts store. So what I had him do is I took off my high side line and told him to cut it in half and put the T in there so I can run the high side line, which will be this line threading into the there and then running into the interchiller box there. Bro, so this is what we're doing. So with the low side, this is, like I said, there's a T going in there. So I'm gonna have to cut as much out so that I can fit this in there. I don't have any pipe dope on there. I will do that to seal it all up, but I gotta cut enough out of the original line so that it matches the original length. Obviously I have this off the firewall right now, so I'm gonna do that. And then with this high side, I took the strut bar off here so that I can actually feed this in there and be able to get in there. With the aluminum line, you can bend it a little bit, it's flexible, but you don't want to kink it, otherwise it's gonna crack. But in order for me to get it out, I had to bend a little bit to actually get it out. So I'll show you once it's all the way back in there. Another good thing to know, when you're doing any AC stuff and you're putting fittings together with O-rings or any kind of mating together with the AC, you, just like you do when you're lubricating O-rings, but instead of with like WD-40 or something, you want to use the PAG oil. This is what actually comes in the system itself. So it lubricates all the AC stuff, and I always use that on everything when I'm putting everything together so it doesn't compromise any of the fittings, any of the O-rings, and nothing gets scratched up. Alright, so I got all the lines on now. I have yet to charge the AC, but this is what it looks like right now. So I have both the spring locks on the evaporator core in the box now, and this runs the high side up into that T I was showing you before down in there. And that's the original routing of where it goes down into the condenser there, right here. And then, like I said, the low side, I have the T here. And like I said, I cut the line to fit this length in here instead of using the entire length, so it was
fit the
still,
length right in.
Yeah, fit the length right in. Right in there, buddy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then obviously that's routed through here and goes down under and goes under, which I didn't want to go this way, but because I have the 90 here, it was actually hitting the side of the box, because I wanted to go through up into here and out here and go through here, but because the 90 was hitting the box, I had to go down and under, which, you know, if this system works real well, I might change that in the future, but right now I'm not doing that. So now all I gotta do is charge up and see if this thing works. Alrighty guys, here it is. It's all it's worth. You got 83 degrees. That's terrible, 83 degrees. So what I had to do this time is did the high side like I was talking about, but I took the original intercooler out of play, and it took me forever to get all the air out of the lines. I think it's just because of the way I have it routed, but here we are running 86 on the intake temps. Typically at idle, you know, it's usually running well into the hundreds, 120, 130. So we're out here getting gas at the Wawa. We just filled up, what do you think it is out here, like 90 something, or?
Yeah, about 90 degrees.
Yeah, 90, maybe 90 plus. So we don't have an accurate measure. So we're gonna get out here and run it and see what she does. So we're recording, we're cruising, we're just chilling. So I was just doing a little driving, I whipped around, we've been sitting for a little bit.
You're at like 90.
90, nice.
Fuck, we need a stabilizer.
Is it all over the place?
All right, guys, you can still see we're at 90.
Alright, I'm gonna get into a little glass right here. See if we can blow some smoke out of this bitch. Where'd that get to?
Yeah, like it was like 115s.
Yeah, really?
Something like that. It's at 130 now. Up real high.
Yeah. It comes back down pretty quick too.
Yep.
That's what's up.
Well, actually, when you got in it there, it went up a little, and then when you got out of it, it went up.
Yeah, I expect that because now the throttle blade's closed.
Yep.
And so now just that heat's just getting soaked in there.
Then it went back down again.
Nice.
110.
And then what's it sitting at? 110 now?
113. Yeah.
Yeah, before it would sit at like 136.
Yeah, that's what the second one's giving me. The first one's like 95.
Yeah, because the last video I did in the shop, so wasn't it like the sun wasn't on us?
Yeah, and it's fucking hot today.
Yeah, it's a lot hotter today because it was only 83 last time.
Yeah, I can't see shit.
Got that sun on us now. Definitely think it's
sick, Jake. You can tilt the thing so you don't look like an asshole. Fuck, dude.
Oh, dude, it's amazing what this thing can do, right?
So everybody knows I just bought my first laptop last week, so clearly I don't do well with this shit.
Right. Dude, I can tell this thing's down on power pretty well. So right now I have the AC off, and I've been running for a little bit. And so we're just going to see a difference in when I have it on with versus when I have it off. So we already did it off, or on, now we're going to do it off. And I'm going to do like a fourth gear pull. I'm on the highway now this time.
You're probably not going to be able to see, I'll just tell you here. Pulling pretty good, it's at 117, 120. Steadily going up. About 140.
And then traffic.
Yeah, but even there, we're like 15, 20 degrees hotter than it was with the AC on.
Yeah. Let's see if it cools down quickly. And I'm sure the water's still cold though, too, because I didn't have it off for very long.
Yeah, you're probably right. It probably is.
What's it sitting at now?
117, 118.
Yeah. And that's at 136.
Yeah, 138.
Yeah, so that's a good sign. It's been off for a little bit. It's just sitting at 130 instead of what was it, like low 100s?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just turn it on. Although I doubt this gonna change before it does.
So now the air's back on here. See if it starts cooling it down. Definitely going down now. Back down at that 115 area.
Yeah, no shit.
Yep.
What's up?
Foot's in it a little more, it's cooler.
Yeah, it seems to do that one.
just dropped 5 degrees right there.
Yeah.
10 degrees. And there it is.
That's the Technic, dude.
All right, we lost the computer here.
So one thing that you guys don't know is this thing is basically blowing up. Cylinder number 2, I did a leak down test on it, and it's at 40% leak straight out of the case, which is one of the reasons why I put the catch can on it, but I didn't know it was that bad, and I feel like it's gotten worse. And so I'm like, every time I'm driving, I almost got to empty that catch can every time. So that's another thing we'll be doing here in the wintertime, or here pretty soon, is tearing this thing apart, rebuilding the engine. So you guys will definitely see that. I'll do a lot of filming for that. But other than that, this fucking Interchiller works. It does the job, not as well as I'd like it, but it definitely does a lot better than it was originally. So let me know what you guys think, comment, like, video, all that good stuff, you know. Later.